Stallion Health Hacks. These are 5 tips to dominate your wellness. I'm Dr. Crisano, your partner in resurrecting the inner stallion in your life, dedicated to providing you with results-backed scientific strategies that aim to help you achieve masculine vitality and optimal wellness. If you're a guy watch there, are you kind of feeling buried and under a shitstorm of health advice? I mean, just think of it. We have the most information we ever had today. You know, if you're feeling like you have all this information and everything sounds good and there's pros and cons and everything, and it creates confusion, you're not alone. That's why I created the Stallion Project. It cuts through the noise and the bullshit with 5, I could go over maybe 5 badass wellness tips in this video today to elevate your health and turn you into an absolute stallion and a beast once again. So let's get after it. Here we go. Too many men are lost in health myths. That's right. There's so many myths out there. So what's happening today is this, guys. It is actually, the road to what you want to do is super simple. And I tell the men I coach, you're not just paying me on what to do through my experience helping thousands of men. You're actually paying me also what not to do. So you have to understand, in order to have a different angle, a different perspective, to say something to come across in a certain way where someone at the other end goes, oh, that's why I'm not getting results. It must be that, I didn't do it this diet or that diet. It creates fads. And the whole idea between a fad diet or training system is they have to create a story and tell a story in a certain way that's persuasive enough for someone to say, yep, that's the reason why I wasn't making results. Not that the cause was they weren't doing the basic, boring, mundane, unsexy things every single day and staying consistent. No, it must have been something outside of them. My age, my genetics, my blood type. It's all bullshit, all right? So the thing is, and I don't blame it. It's entertaining. People have to make a living. They have to sell their angle. So I want to just cut through all that shit, okay? And we'll just I'm just talking about some basic things you could do, okay? So, one of the things I want to talk about is the health myth of skipping checkups, all right? Eating garbage, letting stress wreck them. You're not here to rot. You're here to build and dominate in your life. And it starts with owning your wellness like a man. Misconceptions about men's health. First of all, number 1, stop the bullshit, which is forget skipping checkups, all right? You need to get checked out. Get annual physicals, get your blood work done, get your lab panels, because it's going to catch high blood pressure or heart disease or even cancer and all this stuff early. Prevention beats trying to cure something every single time. Health is not how you look or feel. I'm a perfect example of that. In fact, that's my whole story. That's how I built one of the largest clinics in the world, because I show up there's a reason why I dress a certain way, because it's a non-verbal communication and talk. So my whole thing is I used to enter into a room when I used to speak, and I didn't really wear suits because I kind of look like a boxed meatball in them. I have some cool ones, but I prefer polo shirts just to show off a physique, because this is something that you just can't buy, all right? Hard work, so it says a lot of things. So your physique tells a lot about you. Automatically, when you walk in and you're in shape, people know that you're disciplined, you're focused, you're driven, right? Just think of it's all nonverbal. But I would use that as a setup, because people think, wow, and they would see on the flyer, Mr. America, Mr. Universe, so they're thinking I'm some type of health guy. So I would go in there and I would tell them, so what do most people think health is? And of course, many people say, what? Health is how I look, or it's how I feel. But they don't know even what health is. And here people are saying health's their greatest asset. Because my story was, I just won Mr. America. I looked good. I felt good. I was on the cover of the magazines. And then I was diagnosed with ulcerative colitis, an autoimmune, terminal, irreversible disease. I went from 230 pounds to 158 pounds in about 3.5 months. And they wanted to remove my entire colon. See, but I didn't know what health was, because I looked good. I felt good. I didn't drink alcohol. I ate good food. I did my cardio. I wasn't lining up at McDonald's every fucking day. So how come they're doing well and I'm not? Because I did not know what health was. And if you look in the dictionary, the definition of health is the optimal functioning of your body mentally, physically, socially, and spiritually, and not just merely the absence of a sickness or disease. So health had nothing to do with how you look or how you feel. It has everything to do with how you're functioning. So if we want to be truly healthy, don't go by on just how you look or even how you feel. We have to know, well, how are we functioning? And so we have to look inside the system, look under the hood. So ways to find out how you're functioning. Blood panels, blood work, get certain testing that's done. I love testing. I don't mind going to a medical doctor for testing. I don't like their bullshit of covering symptoms. So all the tests in the world are great. Testing's great. It gives us data. Another thing you guys might know about with checkups is, have you checked out your spine? Your spine protects your nervous system. Your cerebral spinal, your nervous system, is the only thing that carries life from the brain, all the knowledge, wisdom, insight, understanding, everything from your brain to keep every single organ, cell, and tissue alive in your body. That's kind of important. But here's the thing. Do you see your spine? No. Do you see your cholesterol levels or your heart rate level, your blood? No, you don't see these things. So this is why testing is essential. And so stop being stubborn. Get checked out. That's why women live a little bit longer. They're a little bit more self-awareness of their nature. They're a little self-aware. They have a little bit more body awareness. We're stubborn, right? We don't feel good. We push through. So please get checked. So guys out there, get your colonoscopy. Guys, get your blood checked. Should be every quarter. Get your spine and nervous system checked, period. There's so many causes that you totally breeze over and don't even realize they're there, and they're so easy to fix. And it gives you that little bit of awareness. See, it's the blind spots that gets men, period. So again, prevention beats cure every time. Here's some nutritional advice for optimal health to fuel the beast, okay? Here's some things to do. You could load up on protein and greens. So all the nutrition stuff here out there, let's break it down. I've heard everything now. So there's a sugar diet out now. There's a protein-only diet. There's a keto diet where just mainly fats. There's every type of fad diet. Here's the thing. Make sure you get your protein, unlimited vegetables, healthy fats will find their way in there, and earn your carbs. Meaning like after an activity where you sweat, then have your carbs. And for those of you who live in Texas like me, no, it's not walking to your car and sweating because it's freaking 110 degrees and humid. No, if you perform a physical activity for at least a half hour or more, all right, then you can do it. So I tell people, after you exercise, then you earned your carbs. Shit, guys, for those of you that are in my program with the Stallion Project and you could last at least a half hour in bed, great, that's exercise too. Have your carbs after that. If you just have that, well, how much carbs? Does it? Listen, it's about living by rules that you can live out your entire life. Any diet or any fad is something that is short-lived. If you look at something and say, I probably can't sustain this for the rest of my life, then don't even start. Do something that you could do at least 80% of the time and consistent. Because consistency and the habit of a system of taking care of your health is where you win. Another myth we want to break is that it's not important to master mental health and stress management. You need to own your mind. Like stress can kill you. And what is stress? It's your perception. It's the story you're telling about the situation. So when you realize in life, there's no right or wrong situations. It's how you perceive them. So, right, let's say, you ever see that thing, like anytime you're delayed for something and we get pissed off, how do you know that wasn't preventing you from something even more disastrous? There was this story, I don't know if you guys heard it. There's a farmer and he had a horse. They were a poor farmer. And the horse, he broke out of the stable. And the neighbor's like, oh, is that horrible? Like your horse ran away, your only horse you had, and you don't have money to afford it. And the owner says, the guy's like, is it horrible? He's like, maybe or maybe not. And then a couple days later, the horse comes back with like 10 other horses and all these stallions. So now he made so much money on it. And then there was a time where his son was riding one of the horses, and his son fell off the horse, and the horse accidentally stepped on his leg and broke his leg. And the neighbor comes over and be like, oh my God, that's horrible. Like you have these horses, and then one of them accidentally broke your son's leg. Isn't that horrible? And the farmer was like, well, maybe, or maybe not. And a week later, they came by to draft everybody to the war where most of them died, but they didn't draft his son because he had a broken leg. So the story continues to go on. So in life, it's really, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. So stress is our perception. And how do we deal with it? So there are ways to get your power. Now, what happens is when your tank is empty, when you're exhausted, when you're tired, when you're hungry, when you're angry, when you're lonely, when you're bored, that puts you just in the devil's playground. But how do you gain your power? So it's taking care of your body, that physical exercise, meditating, exercise, sleeping right. That builds your power in the essence of body, where we could take a situation and we could logically perceive it a certain way to see it as a challenge, to something to overcome, to something we have control over. So when it comes to stress, Like I said, you can meditate it away. Well, actually, you don't meditate it away. You meditate to gain power over the situation and perspective. Exercise is the quickest way to change your state and not feel as like freaked out over it. And sleep. Sometimes when I sleep, it stops the momentum. If my mind is going crazy and it's juggernauting, and I'm reveling in the bullshit of bullshits. Sometimes sleep or a nap, it stops the momentum. Sometimes you just need to stop the momentum that's juggernauting towards the wrong direction. All right? The power of regular exercise to build your empire. See, exercise is your weapon. So whether you jog, whether you lift, whether you swim, whatever you do and you love, I want you to hit at least 30 minutes, most days, really for men, every single day, at least 30 minutes of exercise to sculpt your body and, more importantly, dodge chronic diseases like a stallion. Take charge of your health. Seize the day, all right? Own your journey. Very important. So make sure your lab work's done and make sure your labs, are solid. They're in the right state. So if there's anything off, consult with me, consult with someone else. A lot of times when certain labs are off, depending on your lifestyle and the life you live, some of those lows or highs might be normal for you. So that's why it's very important that you get the lab testing, but you want to make sure you know or you work with someone who actually knows and reads it according to your life, your body, and customizable to you. Make sure your diet is solid. Just following some rules, some mundane, boring rules every single day. Make sure you incorporate those stress hacks. And then get physical workouts. And right there, that's part of that. That's why I created the Stallion Project. It's a no bullshit way of getting to what you want as quick as possible, cutting through all the shit and going over things that really work. But here's the thing, the things that work, again, they're not exciting. They're not blinky shiny. They're not sexy. They're sweatpants. They're mundane. But let me tell you, you do it and it compounds over time and it becomes a habit and becomes a system in your life where there's no willpower involved, then you win and you're going to watch your life explode. So I want you to transform with these moves. What you could do is join the Stallion Project if you want. Check out our courses. We have all types of courses online. Or basically even set up a call with me and I'll be able to see if you're fit or we could help you with one of our amazing programs. It's really that simple. So make sure you subscribe to our channel. Check out other I have playlists on all types of stuff that you enjoy. So go through the playlist. If there's a title of a playlist that kind of resonates with you, then start watching it. You're going to build a lot more value and I'm here to help you every single step of the way. All right? Keep it up, guys. These are some myths that you can throw out the door. Remember, it's simple to get there. You must build a system, stay consistent, okay? And then once you stay consistent with a system, it becomes a habit. That habit becomes second nature. There's no willpower involved. And before you know it, you'll have the life, the body, the being, the balance, and the business you always wanted. See you in the next video.